Hello everyone, welcome back to the Creator Chronicles. Tomorrow I am giving a workshop for Patreon on what it takes to become a full-time creator. And it seems that a lot of Patreon creators are interested in this question. So I thought I'd walk you through how I would prepare for this kind of workshop. And I'm doing part of my presentation in front of green screen or my blue screen. So I thought I'd just do this video also in front of the blue screen, and who knows, maybe I'll have fun with it later. Also, there's going to be a Q&A and interview portion of the workshop, so I thought I'd practice some of the answers. Whenever I do an interview, I try to get the questions first so I can practice some of my responses and make some bullet points about points I want to hit. I am not a fluid speaker. It definitely takes me lots of rehearsal to get smooth, except when it comes to teaching. When it comes to teaching, I'm very direct. So maybe that's why that's my focus. Okay, so here are some questions. All right, question 1. How have you navigated the balance between art for art's sake and turning that art into something professional? Art always starts as art for art's sake. Anyone who practices an art form, they do it because they love it. So this is an important question because it's definitely the case that once you start to do something for money, you might not love it as much as you do anymore. In some ways, knowing that your art can help you survive, can help you make a living, is really gratifying. I think it's important to distill what part of your art or your craft is really for you, is really for your own personal spiritual growth, and what part of it are you okay with selling, or actually, what part of it do you want to turn into a product that can be for sale. For my channel, I started out sharing videos of my arrangements because it was part of my learning process. And then when people asked me to teach them my arrangements, then that became something that I could share and potentially make money from. And as a musician, we make an album so that we have something to sell at shows, so that we have a way for our audience, our community, to support what we do. So I think it's important to find a way to practice your craft and at the same time create some sort of product that helps support your craft. All right, that was long. Okay, question 2. What was the time when you realized you could turn your art into a career, and what did you have to let go of in order to make it happen? So this is interesting because there was actually a very distinct decision point. Right when my ukulele classes in San Francisco started taking off, at the same time, I was building up my credentials in the acting world, teaching voice at an acting school, and they invited me to direct a play. And that's something I've always wanted to do. Most of you probably don't know, I went to acting school after I quit my first tech job, my only job. This decision point was really between two artistic goals. I could see that what I was creating on YouTube was gaining momentum and also really gratifying for me. And it was the right time to jump as fully into it as I could. And I made actually a decision to quit that job and focus on my YouTube and also restructure my Patreon so that it could build into something sustainable for in terms of me making a living. Okay, question 3. How do you think about and approach setting goals for yourself in your creative business? This is a good question for me in particular because I don't like setting goals. I'm not very good at setting goals, and I find that goals can be disappointing. That if you are trying to push yourself towards something and it feels like pushing yourself, then maybe you don't want it that much. I have an artist personality where some days I really want to do something, just stay up all night working on a project. And sometimes you're so excited about completing a project that you just can't let it go. And I think we're all looking for that kind of inspiration. Okay, so here's my thing about goals. When it comes to goals, I think it's really important that for an artist, for anyone, that you only set goals that you can be in control of, right? Meaning that if you set a goal that's like, I want to have 100,000 followers, well, you don't really have control of that because you can't make other people press the subscribe button or whatever. However, you can reframe the goal to say, I'm going to produce 20 videos a month. I mean, that's an intense schedule, but that is something that you could be in control of, right? There are certain projects for which, you need to create a certain timeline, making and releasing a record. I'm not good at it because there are so many different timelines to manage at the same time in terms of the production and then the marketing and then the press and all of that. It's a lot of work, and I'm not great at that yet. So I do have to set some goals for myself in order to achieve a bigger project. In terms of my own art and craft of singing, of songwriting, of producing videos, I focus less on goals and I focus more on building creative habits. So building a daily habit of doing my voice exercises, of doing my songwriting. I created a weekly live stream where I could test out new music, that kind of thing. I set myself up for consistent practice of goals versus, say, like a to-do list. I'm not really good with a to-do list. I really think that, like, if you know what your bigger goals and your bigger mission are, then that will drive your day-to-day. But it just depends on your personality. How much do you need it delineated for you? What takes you to the next step? For me, having fewer goals, having daily practices versus things to check off, that to me is more important for a sustainable creative practice. Also, I spend a lot of time structuring my Patreon. I've just embraced this like monthly subscription system, and so every month it's set for me what lessons I'm going to deliver for my community. I like that kind of structure, and I think that kind of structure is good for students too. So I think if you are building some sort of teaching platform, you can use the structure of Patreon to deliver regularity and consistency for you and for your community.